Okay, guys, sorry again about this morning. I had gone to my other job, and so now we will make videos, and I will title them appropriately to each question. This is like your practice today. I've gotten some questions as far as like trying to find slope. What about midpoint? Because that was what was in the last video I posted. The midpoint in the last video you posted was just to build the internal quadrilateral. And midpoint goes along with distance and slope and things of that nature, just in general. Like you learn them all together in Math 1. So that's the reason that midpoint is a thing. The only time you would really use midpoint directly is to prove that a diagonal is congruent on either side. Then you would want to find the midpoint of that segment and see if that's where the two diagonals cross each other. But so like the first question in your practice today, you were to find the distance of a given side. So if I'm looking at this polygon, this quadrilateral, and I want to find the distance of IJ, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is where you're going to use your A squared plus B squared equals C squared is one option, or you can use the distance formula, which is the video I posted. But just to throw back, this is a right triangle. So we can find the length of this side by, again, using quadratic formula. So 3 squared plus 4 squared. It's going to give us the hypotenuse, again, assuming this is our right triangle. And we're looking for the hypotenuse here. So that's going to be 9 plus 16, which is 25. We're going to take the square root of that, and 5 equals C. So that means we know this length is going to be 5. And then you want to check again the opposite side if we're trying to prove that they're equal in length and same slope. So again, it's a 3 by 4, which is the same math we did here. So you don't necessarily have to write it again because you know that's going to be a 5 length. So these two sides are congruent. Our slope is a rise of 3, run of 4. So rise 3, run 4, because it's rise over run as a brief review. So counting up 3 over 4 to get from this dot to that dot. Both of these lines are also positive. So that's a mistake people make, is to make sure you go back and decide, is it an increasing line or would it be a decreasing line? In this case, this is increasing. So our slope would be 3 over 4. So they both have the same slope, which tells us that they're parallel. So I know this set of sides is parallel and equal distance. And the parallel is due to the slope, and equal distance is because they both have the same length. Now, you cannot at that point state, you've not shown enough math to state that this is a parallelogram. You have to check your other two sides. So this one's length, so distance would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is also 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is also 5. So that means these two are equidistant as well. They're both vertical lines, and vertical lines have undefined slopes. So since they're both undefined and they're both 5, then they're both parallel and equidistant as well. So as far as back to markings of marking quadrilateral, you can mark this side and this side, and this one and this one, and those arrows are marking parallel. And because there's a 1 and 1, a 2 and a 2, that means they're congruent. So at this point, you've proven enough to say this is a parallelogram. Now, in my mind, seeing a 5, 5, 5, 5, you may think rhombus. So you need to think of your other properties of a rhombus. So maybe diagonals, proving that they're not congruent, but they do bisect at a 90-degree angle. So that would be taking the diagonal J to L. So from J to L, so how did I get from L to J? Would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. So your slope would be rise 8, run 4, which is a slope of 2 to 1. And then the slope from I to K, so this is JL, in case I'm talking fast, sorry. I to K, so this diagonal, our slope would be rise 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 over 4, and this is IK. And it is a negative one, so it's a negative 2 over 4, which would be a negative 1/2. So with this slope of JL being 8 over 4, or 2 over 1, so we want to focus on the 2 over 1, and then this slope being negative 1 over 2, then you know these are right angles in here, which does prove that this is a rhombus. We have 4 congruent sides, opposite sides are parallel, and the intersection of your diagonals are 90 degrees. So first you proved This proved a parallelogram. This gave you the details to call this a rhombus. All right, guys, I'm cutting this video done. That way you can take a break if you need to.